the ace journalist and broadcaster that will leave you inspired and informed.
The Citizen Jones selected prologues of Volume 1 now available. Get your copy now.
For details, contact 0706 9637 935 or send an email to enterprisetv@gmail.com. Citizen Jones selected prologues, a classical compendium of compelling arguments.
The highly anticipated book titled The Citizen Jones Selected Prologues is finally here.
This explosive new book takes you on a journey through the finest writing of the ace journalist and broadcaster that will leave you inspired and informed.
The Citizen Jones Selected Prologues of Volume 1 now available. Get your copy now.
For details, contact 0706 9637 935 or send an email to enterprisetv@gmail.com. Citizen Jones selected prologues, a classical compendium of compelling arguments.
And welcome to Homo Politicus. This is Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bass is my name. Very pleased to welcome you today. Today we turn attention to a very vital part of our lives as a people, as Nigerians. Yes, you know the importance of education. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that today on the show. So welcome to the conversation. Feel free to stop by the comment section to drop your comment about what you think regarding today's focus. Yes, we're talking about the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination 2025, organized, put together by the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board. And the result for the year 2025 has been released, and Jamb'S has disclosed that, the annual entrance examination for candidates seeking admission into Nigerian universities, into polytechnics and colleges of education have been quite poor for 2025. Well, for this year 2025, over 2 million candidates registered for the computer-based examination and just over 1.94 million sat for the examination between the 24th day of April and the 5th of May. And looking at the breakdown of the result, according to the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, about 70% of candidates scored less than 200 of the 400 obtainable points, and only 0.63%, that's 12,421 candidates scored 300 and above, while a total of 24,535 candidates scored less than 100 marks. Well, parents, policy analysts and the rest have been talking about this and why this was the case. Why do we have this number of candidates, this huge, massive number of candidates scoring low in the examination? And so we turn attention to that today. I'm joined today live in the studio by the public policy analyst, Dr. Ojikutu Adeniyi, one who's been part of this process, not just the educational system in Nigeria, but he's been deeply immersed in this entire entrance examination process. That's the Unified Tertiary Matriculations Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Once again, welcome to Homo Politicus. Kingsley Bass is my name. Let's welcome my guest today, Dr. Ojikutu Adeniyi. Many thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
It's always my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Let's get deep into this. Lots of people, socials, via several platforms have been talking about the result for 2025, and the talk around what is responsible for this level of what some persons have marked or termed failure. First, before we get into that, how do you perceive the reports from JAMB regarding this result? The breakdown in terms of the percentage number, number of candidates who scored this, who scored that.
And basically, that's a very good one, because in the past, for the fact that there are no proper statistical breakdown of these figures, we may not be able to measure performance, and we may not be able to, provide solution to whatever. Now, for the fact that knowledge is expanding, there is no way an examination board will release results without breaking those numbers down. So that breakdown will help, planning for futuristic examinations. So I commend JAMB for doing this. In the last 3 years, they've been doing the breakdown and showing to the public, and everybody has an understanding of, how the success rates were and everything. So it's a good one on their part.
Interesting, but the number of candidates who scored below 200 and below definitely cause for concern. We want to see high flyers. Yes, it's acceptable. Not everyone will score high. Several factors are responsible for that. But what do you think is responsible for this level of, again, what some persons have termed failure?
Now, the first thing I want everyone listening and seeing this program to know, and every concerned Nigerian, about the educational system, is that we should be happy that this is the true reflection of the performances of our pupils. So all the candidates, this is about like 95% and above of their true academic sagacity. So if that is where we are, we understand that the level of manipulation, the level of examination malpractice is below 5%. So if that is the situation, we should be happy that JAMB has been able to organize an examination that is giving us true reflection. Now, that is, one side of the story. Their true academic capabilities has been exposed. Now, why are the candidates not performing is another side of the question, which needed to be answered. Now let's go from this angle. Who are the stakeholders when it comes to academic performance? My analysis: the government, the school management, the society, the parents, and the flag carrying members, which is the candidates. That's the student, the children themselves.
Yeah.
Should I name them?
You said the
government,
schools,
the school management,
the
society, the parent, and
the candidates
themselves. So these 5 critical stakeholders are the people that we should evaluate well. Everybody should do what they needed to be done, and we'll get better results. So now, should we break what they should do and how they should go by it?
Let's begin with who you think or what you think is responsible for this in the first place.
And what is because everybody has not done what they need to do.
All right then. So
perfectly.
Okay.
So, and this is a trend. 2023, 2024, this is 2025. The same trajectory. So when we look at it, it's not as if it's just this year that we are seeing less than 30% of candidates scoring above 200. I'm scoring below 200. No. So I'm above 200. So now it's only 25, 24, 26. We've been moving around. All this data is showing us that less than 30% of the candidates scored above the average mark. So if this is the trend, so who is responsible is all these 5 stakeholders. How they are responsible differs.
Let's begin maybe, I suppose, from your categorization of the major stakeholders involved in this. JAMB will fall under government, yes, I suppose.
JAMB will fall under government.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
They are the ones responsible for this examination.
No, JAMB
the examination.
JAMB is not JAMB is a body that government has set up to help us evaluate.
Exactly. So they are responsible for conducting the examination.
So they are not responsible for the performance.
Great.
Their own duty is to help us grade our pupils now, in a unified way.
Now, here's the thing though, with what you just said. Some people believe that some of the policies of the board, of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, is responsible for the low performance. For example, students had to, for some of them, leave home, you know, for some, depending on distance to the location, to the center where they would write the examinations. Some say that the fact that they had to leave home, some the nights before, some before dawn, you know, that morning to get to their center and to get there in time before accreditation by 6:30, 7 o'clock, that could impact on these students, some 16, some 17, psychologically.
That would not significantly contribute to low performance. And I've explained this in one of the fora before, that it is the local government that you choose, is the area that you choose that they would put your center at. And when you choose Ibadan, for instance, is a big city, Lagos is a big city, it's a city-state. So if you choose a local government, for instance, and probably they take you to another part of the local government, it might not necessarily be that it's not still the local government that you choose. Some local governments are big, that you still need a couple of time to travel within your local government. So therefore, if the area you are choosing is already filled up, they can take you to another location with nobody is actually, or at any point in time, has a genuine proof that it is choosing a state and is being posted for examination in another state.
Under local government.
Even in another local government, none. Even in another, because the implication is that on that portal, the moment the local government that you prefer is filled up, because they didn't tell anybody to pick any local government, pick where you want. So if JAMB form comes out 1st of March, for instance, and it's going to be sold from 1st of March to 15th of March, if you get your form 1st of March and you want, for instance, you want Ikeja, you will probably get Ikeja. But let's say they only have space for 2,000 candidates in Ikeja, or let's say 10,000 candidates. The moment they get to that threshold of 10,000 candidates, remember that this is computer-based, form. So the moment that 10,000 is filled up for Ikeja, it will not give you option of Ikeja for exam center. So if you feel you cannot write the exam in Ikeja, you can choose the next local government that you feel is comfortable for you.
That exactly is the problem too, because some parents will say, how do you send a child to this
because
location?
You are not filling your form. They didn't send a child. JAMB did not send a child. People, when probably your preferred location is already, filled up.
Yes.
You have the option to fill the next most comfortable location.
That's exactly
my
point.
And the implication is that it is something that is programmed and planned. So you cannot say that. So that is to say that if you are not spreading those centers across the state, if because of the fact that we're giving an example, is for the fact that majority of the candidates are picking the central city or maybe the capital city, Ikeja, as it were in Lagos. Let's say 2 million, let's say 500,000 candidates wants to write JAMB in Lagos.
Yes.
And out of that 500,000, let's say 200,000 is choosing Ikeja. So the moment Ikeja is filled up. They cannot put all those 200,000 in Ikeja alone because we have 20 local governments and 37 LCDAs. So they still want to take those exams as far as Badagry, as far as Ibejuleki, as far as Ekpe, because they want it to be spread around.
Because we have candidates there
we
to
have candidates
to register.
So the implication is that will always be congested, locations. The same thing with Ogun State. Maybe Abeokuta will quickly be filled up. Maybe in Ibadan, the central city, Bodija, maybe in Port Harcourt, the central areas, the city centers will be filled up than the rural. The same thing in Sokoto, the same thing in Bayelsa. So the implication is that Yenegua, for instance, might be filled up and they might take you to the next local government. It does not mean, or that is not to say that JAMB intentionally want to do you bad. It's because the form came out, for instance, the form comes out on the 1st of March. You are not filling your form and it's closing on the 15th of March.
Yes.
You are a late board. You are filling your form 14th of March. So you will only pick areas that are still left. And for the fact that there is a couple of time, you already know the local government you're choosing. So therefore, what you need to do is to know where you're going to sleep that is closer by, because already that state is your preferred state.
That's one plan, and that could work for those who have the resources to get that done. How about the plan to create more computer-based centers to accommodate these city areas? Isn't that something JAMB should be looking to do?
JAMB, you know that the people running JAMB are professors. So it's difficult we can suggest to them, but most of these things, they understand. Now, in the coming years, they will have seen the trend and they will have been able to probably accredit more centers. And more so, you are talking about accreditation. The accreditations will only come by with people they can trust and people that they know that they have the credibility to conduct these exams. So it's not a just normal jamboree for Tom, Dick, and Harry to just say, I want to own a center. So they have their verification process, accreditation process for centers. So all these factors are things they will put in place.
All right.
So therefore, people should not even associate performance to examination time. None of the exams was when you started 6:30. What they said is exam starts 7:30, but be ready. Make sure you get to your center 1 hour before.
But we know what that could do psychologically to a candidate who's maybe not mature enough for the purpose.
Because the exam is not a theoretical exam. It's an optional exam. That is an objective exam. So therefore, cognitively, in terms of knowledge and picking the right answer from the options, I want to tell you that it's not likely to.
All right,
it's not likely to affect you. Let's assume you are cramming, because even the answer will surely be part of all the options that you are having. So if you know.
Okay.
So when people come up with some of these things as excuse for exams, what are people that are scored above 300?
Well, their situation could be different. There could be high flyers naturally.
I want to tell you that
several factors could work out for them.
I want to tell you that when I saw people complain about some of these things, it's not the major. It's not a major cause or a cause to be reckoned with, as to do with performance.
Well, that's one. Location, timing is one that lots of persons have talked about.
You will have worked on it. You will have worked on it before that day.
Some persons say, they don't have the resources to lodge, their child or their ward somewhere over the night for that purpose. But that's one. That location, timing is one. Another reason and that factor, looking at the JAMB from a JAMB point of view now, could be the computer itself. There was this report of a particular center where candidates, as soon as they were done, started vandalizing, the facility because they said the computers were slow, they were hanging, they weren't effective. As a matter of fact, I think JAMB also did, mention that they were going to do a review of those such centers to see what works. Is that something too that you think might have been responsible, maybe not in high percentage, but responsible for the low performance?
If there are glitches,
yes,
and there are, you know, service problems and
yes,
all that, do you know that those candidates that, you know, eventually vandalize those, you know, that center will have still been able to put their, you know, their complaints forward, and probably Jam will have even considered them, you know, considering the fact that the tool, what made the bad news to go round will still be what to make the positive news to go round. Parents, you need to see Nigerian parents. You need to, I took my own kids for Jam. You need to see Nigerian parents, how passionate people were, taking their children for exam. This is joy of parenting. So when I see people complain about it, I laugh. Yesteryears that people grow older to write Jam 1920, but now the education is faster and we are encouraging it, that we should give them. Are you aware that I fought for candidates that are below 16? I think you are aware.
Yeah, sure.
That I fought for people below 16, and what I want Jam to do is that people below 16, if they can give us analysis of their score, because what my own position was that there are candidates that are very smart that are below 16, and don't shut them out.
I think they did state that 40,247 underage candidates were permitted to take part in the exam, and then only 467 of that 40,000, that's 1% of these candidates achieve scores that meet the threshold for exceptional ability as defined by the by the board.
But don't be surprised that majority of the people that are supposed to write Jam that are below 16, most especially in those inner states, they were discouraged not to go on. You know why? The reason is that the negative news that came by, discouraged a lot of people from participating in this year's Jam. Because of the negativity. So let's allow people, in fact, let people do it early, people that can afford it, so that they will understand what it is to be able to be ready for the coming year.
Go through it. Let's now shift the attention real quick to parents. Yeah, you did mention that you took your kids to yourself and you saw firsthand the passion, the joy on the faces of parents who took their kids there. But beyond, that's the date of the examination. Let's talk the preparation for the examination itself. What role should parents play? Do you think parents have done well enough, and that could be a factor for the results we have today?
Now, I said government, I said parents, schools, I said school management. Now let's start from government. Government understand that their role is to have an educated society, because if you have an educated society, the resources that you are going to deploy for security is going to be reduced, because the higher the people get educated, the relatively low rate of crime
and poverty.
So that's number one. Government should do more, because they should understand that when they sponsor programs that has to do with with things that are not relevant, basically to the discovery of innovation and growth of humanitarian society, it will, at the end of the day, will be treating or bending towards a society of playful people, dancers and all that, and that will not lead to innovation.
But respectfully to dancers are very educated people too. We are
not saying education. Entertainment is not what gave us Bob. So as a society,
doesn't have to be.
We should, as a society, we should balance it. Now, hold on. I'm talking about
balancing that.
I'm talking about this thing. Now, for companies, we should understand that we should not just face. I'm not saying entertainment as a whole is it has a very good advantage for human psychology, economically to balance their psyche and all that.
Yes.
But what we are saying is that government as people that has the data of yesterday, today, and the future of the country they want to build, while we are encouraging people to go into a specific industry, we should encourage them to go into the futuristic industry for us to have a competitive society. Now, all these things that we're learning from other clients, in fact, we are exporting our own culture right now because people are accepting our culture, which is a good one for us.
Yeah, through music.
Through entertainment and music. It's a very good one for us. But what I'm saying is that the moment government is balancing it, the government is encouraging that, they should encourage education. Because if we cannot produce, we will be left to consume what other nations are. And the truth must be said. If we are not saying it, last year we're shouting about this call, that all of us, let's look inward. And now we are here, the same thing. The number of people that are going to be qualified as chemists, number of people that are going to be qualified as medical doctors, number of people that are going to be qualified, who is going to, when everybody is becoming, you know, we do other courses that are not related to probably science. Who are the people that are going to treat us in the hospitals? Who are the people that are going to treat us as public health people to prevent us from diseases? You saw what happened in COVID. So as a society, government role is to balance. Look at the future, look at the trend. If the number of people that are qualified to do sciences are reducing, encourage STEM, sponsor STEM, even for companies. When you want to do programs, when you are putting in a particular sector, you should remember other sectors for humanitarian growth.
All right.
So that if we do not, the implication is that we will be left with society that, okay, do you want us to be importing pharmacists in the next 10 years? Because all of us has run to a particular sector of the economy.
Well, the United Kingdom, for example, the United States, some other climes have loads of Nigerians as medical doctors, as nurses, medical professionals there, and they're doing well.
Because they can afford it.
Oh well.
Because they have better societal plans and whatever benefit for those people. If I tell you majority of the people living abroad, working as expats, if home is sweet, if we have those benefits that people get abroad, we have it here. I tell you, 80% of those people living abroad that are Nigerian professionals would rather live in Nigeria.
That's for government, very quickly, because of
for
time.
the parents.
Yes.
For the parents, we have failed as parents.
In what way?
To understand the priorities. Now, you saw that some parents are very okay. Their children have 300 and above. Even some of those people that have 300 and above, they are doing SAT. They are not even schooling in Nigeria. But for the fact that they've been able to groom their children, some schools are running for Jamb'S now.
Why?
They are running because they will encourage children to do SAT or do other foreign exams, because they know if they sit for Jamb'S, most of them will not pass. Because some schools have big names, low level of academic sagacity. That's one. Two is that parenting, we should try as much as possible to understand the fact that it is how you raise your own child. If you want to produce a medical doctor, you work for it. If you want to produce professionals, you work for it. If you want to produce people that are programmers, you work for it. But there are some things that are not basically professional line. Because if you want to do a course that is not professional line, all courses are important. Even the person that pumps your tire outside is a very important person in the scheme of things. But what I'm saying is that there are some courses, there are some profession that does not require professional certification. It is open to everybody because it does not require special skills. We should not let our interest be too much on those. Those ones that require professional skills has to do with lives. It has to deal with human lives, and apart from that, has to do with some other vital things that help society to grow. So therefore, parents should try. You know, yesteryears, Yoruba families will say, I want you, everybody, they want them to be doctors. Nigerian family, educated families want their children to be doctors. That is why we are able to produce those medical doctors that you see that we export, which is a good one for us as a country. That's why you go to the US, you see Nigerian medical doctors, Nigerian medical practitioners, Nigerian nurses performing very well in America, in Canada, in Saudi Arabia, in London, in UK, and almost everywhere in the world. Now, if we are not increasing the numbers of those knowledge that we had yesterday, Baba Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahmadu Bello, they were able to build institutions that can build these people. But now we should not let it fail in our own climb. So parents, our duty is to make sure that we reduce the television time as it has to do with things that are not educative for students. Now, the mobile gadget that you have, numerous NSW, you know, it is a free on air. They can watch anything in the world. That is not good for a children without restriction. So we should make sure that we restrict these children, not that they will have the phone with them 24/7. Time for study should be known for time for study. Now, I have a news for all Nigerian parents. And this is the first time I'll say it. And I will create this awareness. I saw the Minister for Education and the Ministry of Federal Education that regulates the, you know, education in Nigeria.
Yes.
They said that they want to start WAEC on CBT in WAEC.
Yeah.
Do you know the implication? What your children need is laptops, is the typing skills. There are different massive beacon tools that you need to type, you know, the typing skills, and you know your Word document so well. So it's not time to give your children tablets to watch anything. It's a time to teach them on how to type and type fastly at that. And now I want to tell you again that I know that if a system is going to be, if an exam is going to be conducted that is CBT written, there is every likely that there will not be spelling corrections on it, on the app. So therefore, you must master your spellings. They cannot ask you to write an essay, and your essay autocorrect will not be there. That is, we are saying all these things. We have a year for every Nigerian parent. We have a year to work on this thing and make sure that we solve this problem by helping the pupils, by helping the schools should have computers. We should make sure that we check their speech time. How many words can you type in a minute? We give them things to type. We, you know, make them practice so well so that we will not record worse results in WAEC. We have a year. They said we are preparing for 2026. So this is a year. Nobody will say, I'm not aware. The schools, the parents,
yes,
don't buy phones for children. Buy computers for them.
Would this not be the major problem as we close, you know, for lot of students and candidates who want to write? Because how do we deal? We can talk about this, you know, for city candidates, those in big cities, but we have lots too in rural communities who will not have access to computers, whose parents cannot even afford a phone. I'm talking the smallest phone, not talk about
that is why
phone.
we are saying that NGOs, mosques, churches, private organizations, politicians, what we should encourage people to do now is to either have their own personal, or we have community centers. Every city has a community center. So we will deploy that. They should deploy what they should do. The traditional rulers, the community leaders, is community center that has computers for training from GSS 1 to SS3. But majorly, people that are writing WAEC next year, we should make sure that as they are preparing, they are using their computer-based, you know, and the examination organizers, the WAEC of this world, and they should give them mock exams, give them prototype of how the exams will be.
Yeah.
It should start from now so that people will have a 1 year training time to be able to understand how the exam will flow.
Long way to go, definitely, but we've got to go as well. It's been an interesting conversation, talking first about the conducts and the results, especially of the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination 2025 conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. I've been speaking with Dr. Ujikutu Adeniyi, public policy analyst, who's joined me today to have this conversation. I'd like to thank you very much for coming to the studio and for having this conversation with me. And,
thank you very much.
You've heard to
thank you.
The future is computer-based, right? As a matter of fact, for many countries in the world, the present right now is computer-based, and Nigeria is tapping into that already, especially with examinations in the country. And so parents do well to begin to look in that direction. But again, as observed, rural communities will need to be served, and so they don't become, even further underserved when it comes to technology. We'll keep having this conversation, but I'd like to thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Stop by the comment section, let me know what you think, and indeed I'll be reading and responding to your comment regarding this subject matter. Until next time, No More Politicals, make sure you're safe. Kingsley Bass is my name. I will say God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye for now.
The highly anticipated book titled Citizen Jones Selected Prologues is finally here.
This explosive new book takes you on a journey through the finest writing of the ace journalist and broadcaster that will leave you inspired and informed.
The Citizen Jones Selected Prologues of Volume 1 now available. Get your copy now.
For details, contact 0706 9637 935 or send an email to enterprisetv@gmail.com.
Citizen Jones Selected Prologues,
a classical compendium of compelling arguments.
Welcome to the Middlemen, where we stand as solicitors for the voices unheard, speak the truth, and let no lie go unnoticed. Help me welcome my fellow jurors. Juror Evans Ufeli, who will be asking the unavoidable but yet a century-old avoided question: who is stealing from Nigeria? Juror Henry Igwebuike, who will be asking why a minister celebrates mass failure like promotion. Is this education or just digital wickedness? Juror Olajumoke Alaode James, in all her empathy, will be looking past the nation-wrecking fever and asking if the creed we live by in Nigeria is bigotry or patriotism. While I, Juror Emeka Madunagu, will be looking at the woeful failures of both the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the 2025 UTME and Y candidates. All this in a bit. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. My case. Hashtag free VDM and exam mass failure. The hashtag free VDM hashtag has trended over the last few days in response to the pseudo arrest of social critic Vincent Otse, aka Very Dark Man, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for offenses not yet disclosed to the public. While it's within the purview of EFCC and other security agencies to effect arrests, the manner in which this one was done left many Nigerians angry. It also exposed the tardiness in the agency's operations. Dragging a bank into the matter in the manner the EFCC did was unnecessary, since nothing about the financial institution was in contention. For those justifying his arrest, kindly cast your minds back to how the same agency tried to overpower the Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo in order to arrest his predecessor Alhaji Yaya Bello. Think also about the Gestapo tactics employed by the agency in its operations since inception in the year 2000. Why do you have to pull a hood over VDM's face? Is it true that he was trapped within the bank's security door? Why did the agency take so much time to tell the public what had happened? This leads me to the low performance rate in the Unified Tertiary Examination UTME and West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASCE in Lagos State, and the sad fact that no valid explanation has been given for all that. All we have heard are conjectures about the low performance rates. My verdict: the anyhowness in Nigerian public institutions is quite alarming. Public officials believe they can get whatever they like and get away with it. This is unacceptable. I've heard people saying that VDM is not above the law. None of them has pointed out which law. We need cogent explanations about what happened in these examinations. Enough is enough. I rest my case.
I was somebody who wasn't really attuned about this gentleman's arrest. Forgive me. I think his nuisance value is less than 0. But there are quite a number of people who think that he's Nigeria's messiah. He speaks for the masses, but he's very uncool. He talks without realizing the consequences of his speech. Defaming people because he heard something. You heard something, it's a rumor, you have not verified it. You come and publish it, because everybody's now a journalist because we all have camera phones, So I don't allow his shenanigans distract me from the things that are happening, because I've realized that when there's a serious matter to be discussed, something happens to him that distracts us, from the real issues. And within the week, it was about Sheyi Tinubu and the NANS president, and then that his arrest happened. He's now being released after a lot of public outcry. I guess the people who love him should be satisfied now that he's been released. But if he has a case to answer, I think the EFCC should do their job. What I will agree with you on is the manner of arrest. We've seen the EFCC bust into hotels in the middle of the night, hitting people, I mean, in such a way, someone who confess to doing something that they didn't do. They can be more organized in their manners of arrest. When it's a politician like I was going to say Dino Melai.
Yes.
former governor of Kogi State, remind me of Yaya Bello. His successor Ododo would use his own police to stop his arrest, and they will not do anything. But when he's one Yahoo boy, that they can invite and harass, they'll go busting into their doors in the middle of the night. I think that should not be done. But if anyone has a case to answer,
let me just intervene. The EFCC has actually toned down its Gestapo tactics.
Because
there's a Nigerian of renown, very wealthy Nigerian, the EFCC wanted to arrest in its infancy, in its early days. I learned they went to his house with all kinds of sophisticated gadgets in the dead of the night. In fact, they were trying to bring down his gate. I'm talking of a prominent Nigerian. They were trying to bring down his gate until some people had to tell Obasanjo that, look, what you're doing is going to have global implications. Then he had to call them to stop. They went with all kinds of gadgets. So you can imagine. It's just that these days people talk about Yahoo, but if you go back
to when they were chasing
EFCC that invaded the government house in the governor's residence in Akwa Ibom, and went from room to room, they were looking for the governor.
Yeah.
But the EFCC that Obasanjo created is not the EFCC you have today.
Yeah.
The one Obasanjo created was an offshoot of military rule. So they were unrestrained. They were doing illegal operations, acting very funny, and the rest of that. So that has gone down, most especially these days where people are shooting them.
Yeah, well.
From your window you can gun any of them down, because they are also so stupid that they go at odd hours and they want to prove superiority over all issues. So for this young man who I'm not a fan of his. I'm not
you and I are on the
I'm not a
same
fan of his, but I just think
we
that
should leave him on social media and the people who follow him there. We shouldn't be discussing him on serious.
EFCC should be careful the way they go about arrest.
That is it.
Because you see the way they are patterning arrests, it will cause more problem for them in the future. People will start to take laws into their own hands. People will be resorting to self-help, and they are the ones that will be affected because they will be targeting them and all that. It's not even an EFCC. It's not as if it's an EFCC that is even clean.
Very true.
If it's an EFCC that is clean, you can be doing all that. But while you are trying to build blocks here, your junior officers and your whatever are collecting money from the back door and all that.
Very true.
And you are seeing all that happening. You need to clean EFCC from inside out.
They are even
before they don't even have the moral justification to face the Nigerian
they
society.
Even had allegations of how from high up you collect 100 million from this politician and only declare 50 million from the Waziri's predecessor to Waziri. All of them like that had, you know.
One of them killed the other because of the proceed of criminality.
Can you imagine?
You understand? So is it the same body that we're talking about, or we're talking about something else? I don't want to talk about their bad side, but what I'm going to say is an advice. They should stay within the confines of their jurisdiction to make arrests and to arrest appropriately.
Very true.
Then follow the law to prosecute. Don't keep people beyond time. Don't do this thing the police do. Now we are going to get an order.
Well, they are police officers too.
To extend somebody's decision. Yeah. You can charge them to court. If you are not charged, you release them unconditional. You can go and arrest them again if you want. But as long as you are not ready to charge, don't arrest, because you mess up yourself and the rest of that. The whole world is watching us the way we are going about these things, and I don't think it's okay. You had in your case, there's a part of it that
it's 2-in-1. Talking about Jamb'S.
Yes, but just before we get into that, let me just speak a little bit about the very dark man. You know, it's often agreed that energy flows where attention goes. That is what it is, and I just learned that there is a proliferation of very dark mans everywhere now. In Anglo Cameroon.
Yes,
the young man now dressed like a very dark man, equally doing the same activism that the very dark man is doing, calling people to order, ensuring positive one, ensuring that when people are faced with issues, he goes around to ensure they get the needed help that they need at that point in time. So I would love to feel seriously that every phase in our life, every 2 decades or 3 decades, we have people like the very dark man. I love to believe in the 70s and the early 80s when Fela Nicola Bokoto was equally doing his thing. The way he used to
put appear in panties.
We were equally looking at Nicola Bokoto. People will say, who is this man? He is on court. He doesn't understand the rules of engagement. He says whatever it is he wants to say. But the truth remains that activism has come to stay. We might not see it in 2 decades or 3 decades, but right after those times, we see an emergence of someone too. So let's just feel that the very dark man is the fella of our time.
If I may interrupt you quickly,
yes, please do.
What I would love to advocate for, because we all citizens now, majority of us have smartphones. We have data on our phones. We have become citizens journalists, right? So each and every one of us, you saw how that you call what's that, Naye, Ray,
yes.
Just by speaking her own truth, you saw how viral it went. So very dark man is not doing anything extraordinary. He's not doing more than she did. What I advocate for is for more of us to speak about issues. So there's a headline on any newspaper. Pick your phone, say your own truth within a minute or two in a video that we can all watch and enjoy and comment on. But do your research. When you are mentioning names, ensure that you're speaking facts. Don't come and say allegedly and be using rumor and defaming people.
No, but so are you not saying that two Baba who separated from his wife and put allegedly at the end?
So I'm saying that before we use allegedly. Let's even do our research. So very dark man, very dull man, very short man, very tall man, very Jumoke, very Evans, all of us becoming activists, as you have mentioned that activism is here to stay. All of us, for instance, they can pick one person if he stands out. If all of us are saying the same thing, how many of us are they going to carry? But let's ensure that we're saying the truth at all times and not just, spreading rumors and saying we are activists.
Okay. When we return, Juror Evans will be asking the question, who is stealing from Nigeria? Stay with us.
So welcome to the Middlemen of Jurors. Thanks for staying with us. My case, who is stealing from Nigeria? The former Labour leader and chairman of the Senate Committee on the Interior, Senator Adams Oshomole, is not the first to tell Nigerians that our solid mineral fields have been hijacked by those he described as retired generals in collaboration with foreign crooks. Oshomole addressed the media recently and disclosed how, as national chairman of his political party, the All Progressive Congress, APC, he sent a report of how some retired generals and foreigners were stealing our mineral resources to former President Muhammadu Buhari. Nothing came out of his efforts. In December 2023, the Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, who is a notable close confidant of President Bola Tinubu, had at a budget defense at the National Assembly also raised the alarm on the deep involvement of powerful Nigerians in illegal mining and sponsorship of terrorism in the different parts of the country. Alaka claimed that government was identifying them with both kinetic and non-kinetic means. To date, no one has been named, let alone brought to book. That Oshomole will be alerting Nigerians to this same problem over 14 months after. Even Tinubu, like his predecessor, has been unwilling and unable to rise to the occasion as the commander-in-chief. If two presidents could not tackle this problem with all the powers at their disposal, what do Oshomole and Alake expect the Nigerian public to do? Chase after the so-called retired generals? The dimension of discriminatory treatment of illegal miners in the north compared to illegal refinery operations or operators in the Niger Delta is another issue that people have complained about. The federal government is always very eager to deploy the Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, and Civil Defense Corps to destroy artisanal refineries in the creeks while killing and arresting the operators. The same eagerness has not been deployed against illegal miners in the north, where insecurity has become almost intractable for the past 16 years. We call on our leaders to take decisive action and confront the evil forces that have reduced Nigeria to a laughingstock and abject state of failure. A situation where a handful of big men levy insecurity, terrorism, and mindlessly plunder the resources of the nation unchecked by those empowered to do so is totally unacceptable. When an anomaly like this prevails for so long, it is often the case that powerful people inside the machinery of government are also involved in the plunder. My verdict: we demand that the culprits be immediately named, shamed, and prosecuted. We cannot be fighting small fry bandits while leaving their sponsors to roam free. Anyone who wants to invest in the mineral sector should follow the lawful process and obtain a license. The government must stop complaining and do its work. I shall go to Rabbi again.
The only place where I disagree with you is where you are calling on our leaders. Calling on our leaders for what? To do what? They never do anything.
Who should we call on?
Oh.
We shouldn't get to the stage where the people have to take up arms. It will be total anarchy.
Self-help.
That will be total anarchy. You saw what happened in Borno, one town called Isge, where Boko Haram attacked the town, and then 2 military officers, army officers who responded were killed. They ran out of ammunition, and then the people, the civilian JTF, came together against them and dealt. They finished. They finished the Boko Haram guys and sent the rest fleeing. Same thing in Zamfara, where the military could not and the police could not do it. It was the vigilante who dealt with them, and they were said to have routed over 100 bandits. So all of these things, it just building up.
In Nigeria, the bandits you're talking about, Juror, they are the foot soldiers. The people stealing are very powerful.
Yeah.
The mines in Elisha, the gold mines, right, being illegally mined, it is not by my grandmother or my uncle. No. Powerful foreigners, with the support of powerful
generals,
political elites. It's our leaders who are stealing. So when you are calling on leaders to come and hold leaders who are stealing, I don't know.
No, you see, it's not all of them. Not all the leaders that are stealing.
No, I didn't say all.
There are those identified who are stealing. The government must, develop the political will to get on them. The Sambisa forest we are talking about today is a gold mine of California. That space is one of the richest places in Nigeria. Okay, look at Ibadan, your states, where you have people, Chinese people and all that employed to do mining illegally. Look at Castina, Gombe, all those spots. So all those funds, I mean, they're just taking them out of the country and nobody's saying anything about it.
And the truth of the matter is, like for some of us that grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, Jos specifically, tin mining was so common that it was looking like sand mining.
Yes.
Nobody comes to disturb you.
Tantalize.
But it was a community thing. It wasn't like we just, as little children from primary school, without our parents even knowing, we just stroll to the mining sites and we begin to do the same thing. We just help them to sieve. Yes. No, with the tools and plates and all that. We just sieve. And before you know, you see a black stuff there. That's tin. And we sell it. They weigh it. They pay us. Everybody goes about their normal business. So nobody's even there to shake you. Nobody's there to stop. Nobody's there to. It's normal. So that's why when I look at what's happening in the Niger Delta, how that is the Tompolo-led organization and in cahoot with the military, go on asking and tasking these people. I just see that disparity, in action, that's not mated on people who do illegal mining in the northern part of Nigeria. As much as, of course, we do agree that both of them are illegal, but I still think that the same force that's used to attack them in the Niger Delta should equally find itself in the northern part of Nigeria.
That is the Nigerian police that is supposed to secure human and property, right? Have they even secured humans?
They are killing the humans they are supposed to secure.
Talk less of property, material, resources. Is it Air Force or Navy that you say should go and be manning all our resources and ensuring that they are not stolen?
Policemen used to do tantalite in Jos. I went to the University of Jos. They do tantalite. They take their own to go and sell. So I know that. For that one is not even introduce police there.
So who will do it? SESDC, NDDC.com.
You see, it's this from this small ones they do. It's from where they develop individuals, not doing it in industrial scale.
Yes, exactly.
Government can even forgive maybe children and maybe individuals, but when you are not taking it in industrial scale,
but all the modular refineries in the south, is government forgiving them? They said that
they deploy soldiers to destroy everything.
They said they found many behind government house.
For me, what I worry about...
Was the governor not aware?
Politicians are the owners now.
What I worry about is that there might be, if care is not taken, there might be an escalation of violence by next year in Nigeria.
Why?
Because
You see me
Russia,
you see me,
Russia is making incursion into Niger, Burkina Faso,
Sahel.
Mali, the Sahel, making incursion. Okay, look at, is it Malawi now? The president has just said that nobody should take its mineral resources
outside. Yes.
So when the rest of
their
Africa,
own minerals to use to go to France, like
when the rest of Africa now
they are learning from Niger now.
When they start locking their borders with the kind of lackadaisical government we have in Nigeria,
all of them will
come to Nigeria. They will come to Nigeria.
Over 1,000
France has already said it will help to look at 2,000 abandoned mining sites. Who abandoned those sites? So you find out that even with this tariff war that Donald Trump is engaging in, the rest of the world is looking for where to make money and shore up the economy, because it's no more business as usual, with America. So where can they get that easily? It's two places. If you notice the last World Bank report, the Africa Pulse report, they mentioned two countries, Nigeria and Democratic Republic of Congo. And those are the ticking time bombs in Africa.
These are the two richest countries in Africa.
Those two countries. And they are in the poorest region in the world, the sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
The poorest region in the world. Aren't you surprised?
And they are the richest.
The region that's the richest in the world,
mineral-wise,
has the poorest countries in the world. So if care is not taken, because Russia now is getting tired of the Ukraine war, they'll look for a new theater for war. And I believe they will come to...
And that war is also economic.
Yes.
That's the origin.
So if the US now takes over, since Ukraine has said, okay, if the US now takes over
Ukraine
and says, okay, Russia, you can take some of those other places.
Territories.
Now, attention will shift to Africa. And that is to Nigeria. And there'll be problems.
Because it's the only borderless place within Africa,
where everybody can just stroll in and out.
People strolling from Niger, from Katsina, they just take bicycle, ride to Katsina, carry anything they want to carry.
Did we not build? Did they even complete the railway to Maradi?
Completed.
They are still on it. I think they are trying to extend it to Niamey.
But you completed it to
Maradi.
Yeah, to Maradi. It was completed.
So there is even smoggling on River Niger through Kebbi.
For President Buhari's
that one has been there since now.
Yes.
That one has been there since. Our borders are not okay. So if we're talking about stealing our mineral resources and all that, and we have the thieves here, it's also possible because the borders are also open.
True.
Okay, that's just the mine, what they call it, solid minerals. So how about the crude theft?
Yeah.
The crude theft is in high volume as we speak.
Very true.
So that's the problem we face. When we return, Juror Henry will be examining the 2025 UTME mass failure and wondering why a minister is celebrating the mass failure. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you so very much for still being here. My case, gross irresponsibility. Examining the 2025 UTME mass failure and the role of Dr. Tunji Alausa. The 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME results have unveiled a concerning trend in Nigeria's education system. Out of approximately 1.9 million candidates who sat for the examination, a staggering 76% scored below the 200 mark threshold, indicating a systemic issue that demands urgent attention. Whilst that alone is enough reason for resignation for many Oga at the tops, if Nigeria prioritized education, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has said the high failure rate in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination is clear evidence that the renewed hope government's anti-malpractice measures are yielding results, especially within the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board system. A very callous statement, isn't it? Well, We don't blame him. What do you expect from a nephrologist who was compensated with the post of education minister just after not achieving much as a minister of health? However, research shows that underlying factors contributing to mass failure for the UTME were as follows. Number 1, inadequate infrastructure and technological challenges. Many examination centers faced technical glitches, including computer malfunctions and poor internet connectivity, which disrupted the examination process for numerous candidates. 2, lack of digital literacy. The transition to computer-based test, CBT, has exposed the digital divide, with many students lacking basic computer skills, thereby affecting their performances. Number 3, societal distractions. The pervasive influence of social media, especially with every teenager desiring to be like TikTok Bella, Jadorita, or Popple Speedy, the quest for educational empowered greatness is, of course, seldom looked down. My verdict: it's quite unfortunate that politics is allowed to rubbish everything with this administration, such that when students fail, rather than find the remote cause and fix it, the Renewed Hope administration congratulates the failure as achievement of its renewed policy.
You see, I don't agree with that social media distraction. I have read different things people have written, and I just laughed. In our time, we had more distraction than social media.
No, not.
I will tell you.
Let him.
I disagree.
I've not even said anything.
What
Which bigger distraction was more than Michael Jackson?
I'm
coming.
Oh God!
First, what I carry on your head.
Was more than Michael Jackson. We bought anything. If jeans came out today and they said Michael Jackson had won it, we will walk. We will go and walk. Labor. We will go to sites to work.
Every generation
and
has
get
its own peculiar
money.
distraction.
There was this suede, Michael Jackson suede shoes. We worked to get it. Then you had other distractions. You had this Nintendo games. Nintendo computer games.
Okay, not everyone could afford it at the time.
Come in now.
No,
I will tell you why. I'll tell you what. Do you know what? If you even look at that era, there were people who didn't make anything out of their lives. They failed. Do you realize? Go back to Jamb'S statistics. There was also mass failure. WAEC and all of that. There was mass failure. Do you remember when universities were shut for 9 months under Wike as Minister of State for Education? Go and check the failure rate that year. For 2 years, consecutive 2 years, there was back-to-back failures. So what we need to do is to look at that issue, the technical issues you pointed at. Every generation, like has its own set of distractions.
Peculiar distractions.
Peculiar distractions.
Oh,
the parties we attended, babes and all that.
Whatever distractions you had in your generation, just multiply it by 100 now.
I don't agree.
Yes.
You had Michael Jackson. Do you know how many?
We had Marvin Gaye.
Do you know how people are following Davido, Burna Boy, Whiskey, Irresponsibility, all the artists? Wait now.
Those ones are fading away.
I'm even talking about, I want to face the things you spoke about. You are talking about Nintendo. When on your phone now, there are 1 million games.
Nintendo, yes.
Because I'm playing chess.
Okay, you are part of the failure.
I'm playing
You are part of the cause of failure.
No, she's not. She's not part.
Hold on, Sarah. And then, on top of that, social media, you don't need to go and be fighting with your... In my own generation, and I'm sure it's a generation after your own, TV did not used to come on until 4
Exactly. And close
but by 1982 now, but by 1982 all that changed.
1992.
No, 82.
No.
No, 82. No, remember? No, that was none of the state owned. You remember there, Bendel Television, Ambrosali, 1982. You remember Anambra Broadcasting?
In 1985.
Those are
All of them start by 4.
Just start from
I know,
yes. That time they are decentralized, but they don't do.
It was LTV. It was Lagos Lagos television that now started what led to Nollywood. That they were showing movies, Wicked. Sorry, no, but sorry, let me just add information.
Hold on, sir. I'm talking about TV. That you are talking 1982, NTA.
92.
It's even talking 1982 that they became decentralized. 92 self.
All of them were still starting by 4.
Even AIT and channels, by the time they what they call it, the something broadcasting. What is it that they did in 1992 now?
The regulated.
Yes, regulation.
Even they were just playing music.
Yeah, exactly.
And then one household had one TV set. You go and fight with your parents. They're talking now that all of us have phones. That your DSTV, your Star Times, everything is on your phone. That you don't need to fight for TV anymore. Whatever program that you miss, you go on their YouTube channel and go and watch it at any time. When you're supposed to be reading your books, you're on YouTube. What are you talking about? That's even in response to you. Me, I even wanted to ask number 4. So,
I want to add to
I want to add number 4. Somebody last year, when a crate of egg became 6,000, he said,
egg go.
When a crate of egg became 6,000, that same crate is even now 7,000. That person said, just watch mass failure in
I saw that tweet.
Jamb'S next year. And he was talking about malnutrition. Is it somebody that has not eaten 3 square meals that wants to go be reading?
Okay, you are talking about the
medical
side of it.
You are talking about
let me add to it. You see, what Jamb'S tested this year was not intellection or the intellect of children or whatever. What they tested was resilience to stress and capacity to absorb irregularities. Those who passed are the only ones who have that buffer. You see, this 15.
So wake up at 5 o'clock.
Yes. They didn't test the children's intellection. That's if in law, I would have gone to court and asked that exam be set aside. Yes, be set aside because the children who were prepared on the day they were to write that exam, they were put under very tedious, stressful condition that they lost their bearing. So they only went to that place to make an attempt. They couldn't have passed. So that number is not, it does not represent what they should go and check last year on when that was better organized and compare it with this one. How come that the scores were this low? And then you don't have, so there's something must be done. They should set aside that exam. Let the children let them conduct let them conduct another one and then plan it properly.
Don't tell them to come and accredit at 6:30. Peter Obi was condemning them that how can you ask students to come at 6:30? Do you want them to leave their homes very far away at 5 o'clock? They said no, we didn't start exams at 6:30. We started at 8 o'clock. It was accreditation.
That started by 6:30. They still came back to 6:30. When the students
starting the accreditation at home at 6:30, or they had to leave early to get to to the exam centers at 6:30. I mean, in agreeing with the juror, make them set aside though. Because over 75% under 200. Who is going to go to university next year now to go and ask for loan?
For me, they should scrap Jamb'S. Jamb'S should be scrapped. If you have 6 credits, take an exam to the university of choice. If you pass, they give you admission. You see, we like creating Jamb'S was just basically.
It was a quota system.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Somebody from the north, they'll say educationally less
disadvantaged states. Why do we have?
So if you have,
do you know up till now we have up till now there are 21 states. The 19 states in the north, then Ebonyi and Bayelsa are still educationally disadvantaged states up till now.
But why is it that we're not even speaking to the man under reference here, Dr.
Mr.
No, it's the same man that said they should scrap 6334.
Let's not forget.
No, yes, to me, you see,
in a square hole.
So there's nothing much to expect from him because a lot of things.
The brain of education.
You know, some of these people. You know, for me, some of these ministers, because they cannot on their own bring about fundamental change, so they just listen to what the civil servants tell them.
Who is the person appointing the ministers?
That is it.
What does he know?
It's the president now. It's I lost touch with what it's in France. It's always going to France. So he doesn't even know what is going on. how the system is being managed, what is going to education.
You put the nephrologist as the education minister.
See, your investment in education is what will change the country.
Very true.
If we don't know. Your investment, that's what will reflect.
Last week, was I
but the money will be stolen.
Was I not talking about Ibrahim Traore? How, even though military dictator, I should stop calling him military dictator, that he's educating his people because that's the future.
Yes.
That's the future.
Will you be here in another 50 years? Most of our elites will not be. The Nigerians that they will call Nigerians in 50 years are the ones that are failing Jamb'S now.
Now, you expect that Nigerians who are 15, 16 years old now, whom you have zero investment in them, you expect them to behave well in future. Why should they behave well?
Very true.
I was telling somebody you are demanding well me to behave well. When the federal government didn't take, the federal government of this country almost stopped me from becoming a lawyer.
Are they giving you an AA?
And then you are telling me that you are telling me that I should behave well. I should behave well based on what? Do I have the fortitude to actually behave well?
If you didn't get the egg, how can you?
No, this country must work, honestly. It has to work.
All right, when we return, Juror Olajumoke Alaude James will be questioning if the ideology we have in Nigeria can be termed bigotry or patriotism. That in a bit. I'm going away.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still on the Middlemen by case. Bigotry or patriotism. I saw Harrison's tweet about one less Yoruba state after the passing of an APC minion, and I thought it was too much. I don't denigrate the dead here. When someone dies, whatever the issues we had with them dies. I'm one who saw how the bigotry on X started after the gubernatorial elections in Lagos State in March 2023, so I usually ignore the banter back and forth. But on this day, I was going to respond to Harrison and say, no, this is wrong. You're becoming like the people you hate. However, as I clicked on the street to respond, I saw other people had gotten there before me and saw how he responded to them with bitterness and evidence of how he just wished his daughter a happy birthday and someone, unprovoked, wished his daughter dead. All because of bigotry. At this point, I stopped and asked myself, what would you do differently, Jumoke? You can't beat a child and ask him not to cry. It's easy to see someone's reaction and think it's wrong without knowing the premise. Even though the bigotry we see today looks like a very bitter war amongst tribes, interracial marriages are still happening across event centers in Nigeria every day. So I'm one not to fan the flames, but the seed being sown may germinate in a few years and we could very well be undoing the healing process that has taken 55 years since the end of the civil war in Nigeria. Our parents had terrible experiences. We schooled together in unity schools and had friends, spouses from across tribes. So we do not want to teach the next 2 generations tribalism, bigotry, and hatred because of elections. Yet the politicians from who we do this do not even see different tribes nor religions when they share loot and pilfer our patrimony for their children's children yet unborn. We, the citizens, who ought to be fighting them, demanding good governance or kicking them out of office when they fail, are now facing ourselves, fighting ever so bitterly, so these paymasters can give us crumbs from their tables and keep us on their payroll for a morsel of bread. Sometimes the ones even fighting for their tribe or religion are the most unfortunate ones. You know, belief is the core of any human being. They are not getting paid, yes. They have no achievements, yes. No hope in the economy, yes. They have no good education nor healthcare, but fight for what they believe in. That someone is denigrating their tribe or religion. They can be poor, but have pride in their tribe and religion. Nothing you can say to change the minds of those ones than to educate their children, if they have any, not to become like them. They may die believing they're doing the right thing because that's what forms their core belief system, and trying to change that is trying to unalive them. However, we must continue to educate ourselves and the larger society about the consequences of the seeds of bigotry we are sowing. We can't complain about racism against blacks in the world and then discriminate against ourselves at home. because of the religions of the colonizers and different tribes of our forefathers. We should not inherit the hate and bitterness of others. If I have nothing against the Cameroonian, Chadian, Malian, Togolese, Ghanaian, why should I then hate an Igbo, Hausa, Efik, Ibibio, Ijebu? We all hate what is happening with our South African brothers who hate Nigerians because they claim our men come to commit crime and take their women. And for that, they commit xenophobic acts that are condemnable. How can we then do the same to ourselves at home? Politicians divide us so they can conquer us. The colonialists did it. The military did it. Now we are allowing ourselves to be used again. Who do you think benefits? Hungry people fighting over tribe and religion while billions are being stolen from wild elephant projects that never see the light of day. We're buying petrol at 900 naira a litre. We have crude oil under our belly, yet the $897 billion earmarked to revive the Warri refinery has gone down the drain, and we're not fighting over that. Nigeria, who do you this strong thing? Now, this is my verdict. There's insecurity. The Minister of Information says the media should stop making terrorists their headlines. The son of the president is roaming like an emperor. There's hunger. We ought to face our governments and political elites, not one another.
Now, let me quote Odewale, because Odewale in The Gods Are Not to Be Blamed by Olarotimi, when he was explaining how he mistakenly killed his father and married his mother. And he said that in that line, he said, "It was a runaway from the blood I spilled to calm the heart of my tribe. That brought me to this strange land to do more horrors." In his farm, he was called a man from a bush tribe of Ijeku. Okay, when you curse a man's identity, when you curse a man's tribe, or when you denigrate a man's tribe, it hits him so hard in ways that his response, however primitive or whatever you see, you can take. Because it is wrong, really, to curse a man. You can denigrate him, you can talk about his looks, you can talk about every other thing. But if you curse his
origin, his
background,
background,
if you curse his tribe, that's why Odewale said, "It was a runaway from the blood I spilled to calm the heart of my tribe." He spilled blood to calm the heart of that tribe that brought him to another land to do more horrors. Because that thing struck him, his identity. So we should be very careful. That work of art may be Sophocles, it might be a drama, it might be whatever you call it. But that's exactly the way humans behave.
Okay.
If you say negative about Etwa, where I come from,
you will go and break somebody's head.
So,
okay, while we are saying,
but we need to really
can we balance it?
Don't do
today,
I agree.
Today on
make it right, sir.
On Facebook, I came across a post. There's a Nigerian, she has a Yoruba name. She's an athlete, and she's doing well in Ireland. She chose Ireland as her country. She's doing well. Somebody forwarded a post by the Oriental Times, I think, the foreign medium also. And there were, you could see their names, they were maybe whites or so, who were denigrating her. Then there were whites too, who were saying, "Oh, her country and my country," praising her and all of that. I didn't see Nigerians, coming to encourage her. So I had to just quickly put something. Now, what are we talking about? The people who are doing this, I find out from a little study I've done, a lot of retired people.
Facebook is for my grandmother.
WhatsApp has really exposed, the how will I put it, certain strange things in a lot of retirees.
Bigotry.
Too much bigotry things they were told.
No, they didn't have a
as children.
They did not have a platform to publish
things they were told. Those things they witnessed as youth.
So
in their days.
Things they witnessed in their days. They will tell you Awolowo and Zik had something in 1951. I challenge. There's a group I belong to. We have a lot of these elderly people.
You're on plenty groups.
I asked them.
You believe in these groups?
No, why? But how will I do my journalism work?
You have to.
I now told them. I said, "Look at you are talking about Awolowo and Zik. Both men are dead. So anything anybody is saying happen between them is a liar." I said, because you can't tell a man's story better than himself.
True, very true, sir.
If both of them were alive, we will sit them down.
And ask them.
But both of them, interestingly, they belonged to the same groups till they died.
Can you imagine?
These were people.
So now retirees after them are now telling stories to divide them.
To divide people.
No, to divide current people.
To divide younger people. But you know the funny thing?
No, divide them so that current.
Yes, I was at a gathering, on Saturday. Femi Falana was there. And they was talking about that they're trying to build a coalition with the media, for electoral reforms, or free and fair elections, and all of that. That the youth are actually very angry. Because they just see that these people are just using them. Okay, look at Tinubu. We are still even complaining about, Tinubu's style of governance. His son has now jumped into the. Yes. Is that not insulting? Old people will not see that their own children are being pushed aside by Tinubu's son, by all those people. The chairman of the Governance Advisory Council, Tajuddin Olusi, he was saying yesterday that it's wrong for Fashola to have brought out his son for local government election. For the speaker of the ambassador brought out the song. The vice chairman of the Kenyan government bringing out the song. He said it's wrong that this thing that nobody brought him into politics, that he was the one who came into politics by himself. But what are we talking about? They are not happy with the emergence of Chei Tinubu, but they caused it. They planted the seed, and they are going to reap it. Because you think maybe by demonizing other ethnic groups, by throwing them, encouraging people to engage in acts of bigotry and brigandage against other ethnic groups, you think it will advance your own cause. You don't know what you are doing is that you are opening and they've started even distributing such hateful propaganda. Even now, I asked some of them on that group, I said, how many of you will be alive in 2 years when the election will be on? And you're already distributing propaganda. Are you not hastening your death?
But you know that most times they get swallowed by the monster that they are creating. That's
what I tell them. How many of them will be alive by then?
You know something. This is the last generation that will compartmentalize Nigerians. Okay? This alpha generation, this Gen Z people, they are not interested in all these things. So let this generation come and pack
with their bigotry.
With all the baggages. Some of them will be telling you during the war, because of the war, some of them will say this one is in Yamari, this one will say this one is.
So when their own generation, the children that did not see the war will not have any.
These are things that cannot see. I was discussing with someone yesterday in court, and he said what Nigeria needs just 20 years of focus. If we can put, so one guy now asked, is it that 20 years, does it include with ethnicity and the diversity? The guy who said that now,
I thought about it.
So add 5 years.
25 years. 25 years.
He forgot that the main thing dealing with us is our lack of oneness.
Very true.
Our lack of oneness. That unit is not there. So by then, if we can focus with 20-25 years, we can do something. And then by then, these people with the baggages, this one is this tribe, that one is that tribe, this one is that tribe.
Look at what. There's something I even want. There's an article I want to do. The whole of Europe has been celebrating the end of the they've been celebrating Veterans Day, the end of the Second World War. There have been memorials, 2 minutes silence, and all that. But all through all the reports, there has been no mention of Nigeria. Nigeria sent a lot of men to fight the Second World War. Ojukwu, Sir Louis Odumegwu, he provided vehicles that carried Nigerian troops to the theaters of war.
Well, they would not mention
a single.
Nigerian that
I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere
as a subset of.
No, it doesn't. It's not about being subset.
It's a subset of the British.
Yeah, the British. But you know what? But the interesting thing is this: if we had pride in ourselves, that's what somebody who commented on that outlet said. Do you know that Nigeria? The lady commented. She lives in America. She said there are 200 countries in the world, and other countries see you as one. So if you come together and focus on your strengths, they will see you as a great nation. Wherever your people appear, they will respect them.
Africans.
So now look at us. The Europeans, even Ukrainians, they are celebrating Europeans, celebrating Ukrainians, but nobody is celebrating Africans who fought in that Second World War.
Now, Emeka, the reason lots of people might not celebrate it is actually very, very clear, because those who are supposed to champion the lack of or unite us as one are not doing that job. This
and those telling stories about Awolowo 1951 and Zik, why are they not telling stories of the Second World War?
Now, this reminds me of the pogrom that happened in Rwanda. The genocide that happened there. Just a journalist, a prominent one that was always on radio, was saying, let's kill the cockroaches. Let's kill the cockroaches.
Yeah.
And lots of, because of that singular, word he kept saying, that led to loss of, millions of Tutsis that died as a result of that. Now, after that particular war, that journalist fled to Canada. Right, he stayed there for close to 20-something years. Just most recently, last 1 year or so, they repatriated him back to Rwanda. He's currently serving jail term in Rwanda now. Now, why am I saying this? Bayo Onanuga visited the museum there, and when he came out, he shed tears. He said, "Wow, they couldn't believe that. How can people who are living together as one country be doing this to themselves?" 2 years later, he never knew that he would be made a stakeholder in the 2023 general elections. Now imagine how many things Bayo Onanuga spewed that time.
But I use the worst adjectives to describe him every time.
Enmity between
every
tribes.
time I have a point to tell him, for every insult you throw at my tribe, I will throw 50 to you.
So this is just...
You will never be happy in your life for the rest of your life. Because let me tell you the truth. Look, let me tell you the truth. The time has come. Let me tell you the truth. Just like Barrister said, the time has come for us to invoke spiritual declarations against people spreading all these things. That they will not end well, and if they are planting hatred, it should go through their families, through their descendants, because you know what all this is doing. Let me tell you, there are people living in this country because of their sanity. Because when they look at all this bigotry and all that, they just can't understand.
What's needless?
What exactly are these people looking for?
It's choking.
So for somebody,
you know, there's somebody. You know, there's somebody. There's somebody on my fellow landlord's platform. I almost insulted him. You posted a video. Somebody saying that the house rents are increasing in Lagos, and Yorubas cannot. I said, what nonsense? How can you post this rubbish? Do you realize you are insulting Negro? How is it possible that people cannot afford high rent because they come from a certain tribe? Does it make sense?
It doesn't make any sense.
Does it make sense? But you people just speak any rubbish until the day they will insult your father, your ancestors. You will post it, then you will learn that you must. That you must be reasonable when posting things.
Jurors. So I think we have to do part 2 of this particular bigotry or patriotism.
Maybe a series.
I see that it is very sensitive and it is deep rooted.
It's annoying. It's unnecessary.
What we are seeing on social media is just a subset, a minute fraction of what is really going on in the minds of people who feel disabused, denigrated. And I wanted to say that people who are doing it for free, because there's some who are paid. They want to be on the payroll of the political elites. The ones who are doing it for free just feel that it is patriotism. How can you say my tribe cannot pay rent? And because of that, you now start throwing
President Tinubu should come and intervene.
Juror Emeka. So we need to go to the root of this problem so that we can find a solution. Because the political elites are happy that we're divided like that. When it comes to politics, they are very united though, even in their own politics. You will find them across all political parties, APC, PDP, LP. They are very united across tribes and religion. But they divide us. Lagos, you cannot allow Omo Igbo, whose great-grandfather built Lagos. But just because his mother is from another tribe, you now divide people, start to hurt people, kill them for elections.
In the exact word of Dewale, the gods are not to be blamed. The man spat on my tribe. He spat on the tribe I thought was my tribe. The man laughed and laughing. He called me a man from a bush tribe of Ijeku. Then I lose my reasons.
Okay. So
let me just quickly add something. Look at the bank that was involved in this very dark man's matter. Suddenly, some people started saying it's a Yoruba bank.
Yeah,
But the same set of people,
I saw that.
in 2023, the same set of people called his own brother, Jimmy Akwaji. They said it's Jimmy Chukwu, that he's looking for his Igbo of Lagos. What exactly drives this? Look, I hope we can have a leader and a set of lawmakers in National Assembly that will make bigotry a capital offense.
Exactly, very true.
I'm hoping to get to that point. Make bigotry, if you cast
Make
a
it
slur,
make it a capital offense, like Paul when he visited the Galatians and he told them there's neither Jews nor Gentiles. He made a proclamation that don't go on that. Even the current president of Rwanda, the country refers to. You understand?
Kagame.
If you go there and talk tribe, this thing, they send you to jail.
Yeah, definitely.
So this matter will not end today. It is deep-rooted. It affects us in ways that we have not even spoken about. And I think that we need to find a solution for ourselves where we, the people, are united against the leaders who are pilfering and stealing our patrimony and say, look, my best friend in primary school was Chinedu, my seatmate. I did not see his gender. I did not see his tribe. And until after university, when we saw ourselves again, we're, hugging each other and all of that. But now I want to vote. You say, oh no, Chinedu is no longer my brother. Just because you want me to vote for your son. Let us be wise that it is all for their own selfish interests, not for anything that benefits the rest of us. Chinedu and Jumoke are still getting married in every event center every day. We don't see tribes, we don't see religion. When we truly come together and love is our religion, let's not take the foreign imported religions and start to kill ourselves and say we are killing on the side of God. But we would also like to hear your opinion on this very, very sensitive topic. Please drop your comments in our social media comment section. But it's a wrap on this particular edition of Middlemen. We hope you enjoyed our conversation.